Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Charlie State and Naga Munchetty.
Our headlines today.
Good morning. It's Friday the 19th of March. Our top story is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will be rolled out in some European countries today after regulators found no evidence that it causes blood clots.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson will receive the vaccine and has assured the public it is safe after more than a dozen countries paused their delivery of the jab. Here's our health correspondent, Catherine Da Costa. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon is facing calls to resign because a committee of MSPs concluded she misled them in their inquiry into the handling of harassment claims against her predecessor, Alex Salmond.
Now, it's understood they voted 5-4 that she gave them an inaccurate account when she answered their questions 2 weeks ago. The First Minister says she stands by what she said. Our political correspondent Nick Eardley has this report. It's Red Nose Day, and tonight's socially distanced comic relief is going to feature big names in a night of entertainment on BBC One. Yeah. Where Judi Dench with a vacuum cleaner. That's the message from that. Matt has the weather for us today. And you know what? We should rightly celebrate some really lovely temperatures in Scotland yesterday.
Oh, what a day it was, Naga.
See you then.
Look forward to it. 8:10 is the time. Good morning to you. Now, at the peak of the pandemic, as cases climbed and hospital admissions increased, the NHS was at risk of being overwhelmed. Tens of thousands of nursing students stepped in to volunteer, many of them working on the front line for the very first time.
And how many of those are preparing to graduate this year? We've been hearing from 8 student nurses from all across the UK to find out what it was like to train in the middle of a national emergency. Nursing director just reflecting a little bit on the experience that those trainee nurses have had like no generation before them.
It is 21 minutes past 8. Coach trips. Can you remember the last time we were on a coach? It's been a while for lots of people, and obviously the pandemic has hurt it badly, and the future of the industry could, it says, be in doubt.
Yeah, let's find out what it's like for one business, Sarah. Sarah's at a depot in Yorkshire for us this morning. As we all know, Sarah, I mean, people just haven't been travelling, obviously, in the way they did before, so really challenging time. Maybe better times ahead. Hopefully better times.
You taught me a word. Charabang.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it.
Well, it's like an old-fashioned word for a bus like that.
Yeah, an early motor coach. Learn something new every day. Nearly 8:30. Find out what's happening wherever you are. We'll see you shortly. Good morning. You're watching Breakfast with Charlie State and Naga Munchetty.
Time is 8:33. Morning Live, of course, is on at BBC One. That's coming up at 9:15. We disappear, they appear. And absolutely, thank you very much, guys. 8:35 is the time now.
The jab is safe. The thing that isn't safe is catching COVID. That was the message from the Prime Minister yesterday after regulators confirmed that the AstraZeneca vaccine didn't increase the risk of blood clots.
Over a dozen countries had stopped giving the AstraZeneca vaccine, but today some countries in Europe will restart their rollout of the jab. Let's talk through.
Morning.
I mean, we do a regular catch-up with you, and I know you were talking to us earlier in the week. And at that point, we had this pause in place, awaiting this very important ruling, which is on top of all the other rulings. Clear, categorical ruling, Oxford, AstraZeneca, safe. It is an important moment.
Isn't it? We were discussing earlier about what's going on in France, particularly in Paris, seeing another lockdown. Concerns also about how France is dealing with the Kent variant and the prospects in terms of a third wave. And there seems to be less worry about that being impacted here because of where we are with the vaccine rollout.
I know you've spoken quite a bit about your own experience in relation to the vaccine, and I know a lot has been done all the time in how people react, but there's a couple more thoughts, isn't there, around things that people should be mindful of when they're sort of analysing themselves. They've had the jab, how am I feeling?
What should we be reading into when it comes to...
So
It's good to talk to you. Thanks very much. It's Fergus Walsh there.
Let's see, 8:41 is the time now. A treat now. If you're one of those people who likes railways, likes trains, you don't have to be a train spotter to love train travel or, train lines.
It's quite difficult not to have something about trains to like.
Absolutely. So let's explain. First time in nearly 50 years, regular passenger trains could run on the Dartmoor train line. That's in Devon, maybe later this year.
It's part of a multi-million-pound government plan to reinstate local services which have been closed since the beaching cuts in the 70s.
Let's go to John Maguire, who's at Oakhampton Station for us this morning. Very well decorated, and this is a great story, isn't it? Not least because it's practical, people can use the trains, but there's something a bit special about a new queue. Thanks for showing us around. Really interesting.
Lovely. It's like a moment in time,
No,
isn't it?
Nice.
It's really lovely. Let's talk to Matt. Take a look at the weather. Matt, I'm amazed. So you said that it was Iceland and Edinburgh that were the warmest places in Europe yesterday.
Certainly amongst the warmest. Yeah, not often I get to say that, is it?
Now, for those of us fortunate enough to have access to the garden, they often have provided a lifeline over the past year. But as our outside spaces become indispensable, so did the television programme Gardener's World.
The long-running show racked up its best viewing figures in 5 years, and now with the start of spring, it is returning to our screens. We'll be speaking to presenter Monty Don in just a moment. First, have a look at the new series. As I say, we can speak to Monty right now. Good morning, Monty. Not in the garden, in your study, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, but I'm only in my study because I'm talking to you. The minute I'm done, I'm out.
Quite right, too. And hopefully the weather, you won't mind about the weather, so that's irrelevant. Can I just say, Monty, that just that little clip there, and that's ahead of the new series that's coming out. There's something about, you will know this very well, something about the pace and the calm and the lack of... metaphorically, that it immediately, in what we showed 25 seconds there, we saw the dog sort of lying, having a little sleep. There's you digging through a little bit of soil. There's something about it that clearly works.
I mean, I love filming, and I think that...
Monty, in terms of to cover on the programme.
Well...
Monty, people like to know a little bit about how things are made. Now, you were obviously working with restrictions, social distancing in terms of filming, and who was allowed there and all that.
That's how it's been for the last year.
Have you, Monty, have you named the cameras? Do they get names? Do the robots get names? None of that? No?
They're too impersonal.
And, of course, the series is beginning tonight, BBC 2, 9 o'clock. A lot of people will be very happy, except for Northern Ireland, where it'll be available on the iPlayer tomorrow at 5 p.m.
You're watching Breakfast, 8:59. Let's take a look at the latest headlines. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is going to be rolled out in some European countries today after regulators found no evidence that it causes blood clots. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon is facing calls to resign because a committee of MSPs concluded that she misled them in their inquiry into the handling of harassment claims against her predecessor, Alex Salmond.
It's understood they voted 5-4 that she gave them an inaccurate account. When she answered their questions 2 weeks ago, the First Minister says she stands by what she said. Let's speak to our political...
Time now for a last brief look at the headlines wherever you are this morning. Good morning, you're watching Breakfast now. From Primal Scream to Oasis, Creation Records was responsible for some of the signature sounds of the 90s. The indie label began with just a £1,000 loan, went on to sign some of the biggest names of the decade.
Now, 25 years on, the story of the label and its founder, Alan McGee, is being told in a new film released this weekend. Our entertainment correspondent, Lisa Bazimba, has this report.
Great time. Now, they found a winner in RuPaul's Drag Race UK. 12 queens started.
12 queens started, sorry, you go.
Just one, though, could be crowned the UK's next Drag Race superstar, the final last night.
So we need to issue the spoiler alert. We will be speaking to the winner in just a minute. So this is the time to step away if you don't want to know. Let's have a look at what's been happening.
And Lawrence Chaney is still excited. Oh, carry on. Good morning. Congratulations. I was loving what you were doing to the music then.
Oh my God, it's genuinely, it's because it's a dream come true. It feels like a...
And you should revel in it. this
Oh,
morning.
stop flirting.
I can't help
flirting.
myself, darling. I just can't help myself, darling, when you look that good. How long you done? Oh, you did all your own makeup and everything, didn't you? You had to.
Yeah.
Anyone who's come to this series, there's something about it. Is it the escapism? Is it just that the times we're in? There's something about it that it's. I think it's kind of hit a spot in some way, hasn't it?
You that the judges did note the fact that you brought grit to what you do.
You know, it means a lot because, like,
A little feel about that.
always.
All I want to know is, is the outfit you just dressed for the waist up? You can see, of course, the final and the rest of the series so far on the BBC iPlayer.
That is all from us on Breakfast this morning. Back tomorrow at 6.
Now on BBC One, it's time for Morning Live.